Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she had saw what she had done, she went and gave her father 41. Now, knowing that that riddle is not true, which is why we are here today in Fall River, Massachusetts, raised to give you the true history of the lives of the Bordens. Come along with us as we go through the doors of history in the unknown and look for paranormal activity, ask questions, and seek for answers. Because you've got to wonder what really took place here at this house on 92 2nd Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, back in 1892. Now we are in the actual Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast where the murders took place on August 4th of 1892, I believe it was, right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Me and Jen over here are sitting with Danielle, who's going to explain some of the history, and then she's going to give us a tour around the house.
Yeah, well, what do you want to know first?
Like, what is actually some of like the myths, or what's the actual like events that took place? Because I know everybody has their own opinions and stuff of what actually took place. Some people say it's Lizzie, some say it's Emmer, which is why it's still a mystery today. I mean, like, what's your belief? Who do you think did it?
Well, everyone has their own opinion on who did it, and it's unknown. A lot of people do think it's Lizzie. I'm guilty. I'm one of those. But it's still unproven to this day. You've heard of that Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. I mean, everyone knows that. That's the infamous little rhyme. But that is historically inaccurate. It was actually 10 to 11 for the father and 18 to 19 for the mother. But the house itself was built in 1845, and when Mr. Borden took it over, it was 1872. And the murders happened in 1892.
And pretty much everything here that people see are all replicas, right? Or is there anything original?
We have a couple of books from Lizzie, but everything throughout the entire house is all replicas. It all does date back from the late 1800s and 1900s.
Now, did you guys set up the house to make it look like the way they originally had it set up?
As close as possible from the pictures that we have and what we know of the history back then. The only thing that is actually original to this house is all the woodwork that you see throughout the entire house, and the heating system as well, which Mr. Borden actually put in.
Now, have you personally ever had any experiences in here?
Quite a few.
Quite a few?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of people talk over my own voice. I felt a hand run down my spine. I've heard people walking down the stairs and there was no one else here. A couple of people opening the doors. Pictures have fallen off the walls. Just strange stuff you really can't explain. Okay, so this would have been the Borden's sitting room, and this is the infamous couch, but again, it is just a replica.
Just a replica?
Yeah, the original couch was taken out of the house and it was held in the police station. They so kindly reupholstered it and then brought it back to the house for Lizzie and the girls once Lizzie had put it from jail. And then when the girls finally moved out of the house, that, along with the regular furniture, was taken and put into storage, which is where, unfortunately, the couch and the rest of the Borden's furniture got destroyed through fire and flood.
That's terrible.
That's terrible. Now, over here, this is the actual murder scene photo?
Yes, that is the actual crime scene photo. And if you actually look all the way on the right-hand side of the picture, because the photos took so long to take back then, you can see the outline of one of the gentlemen on the right-hand side.
Well, right here?
Mm-hmm.
I see it now.
Everyone thinks it's a ghost, but it's not.
Now, of course, those would be the pictures of Lizzie up there, right?
Yeah, those are all from her early teens to her mid-40s. And the picture right on the side of you there, that is a picture which is infamous. And that was right after she got out of jail, when she was in Newport, Rhode Island. And she was held in jail in Taunton. She was transferred back and forth to New Bedford, and that was where the Supreme Court was. So she was held in jail there, as well as Taunton and Fall River, from being transferred back and forth to different courts. Now when you come upstairs here, once you get to about this point, if you look across the floor, you can see underneath the bed to the other side where her body was discovered. And that's how the maid and Mrs. Churchill, their neighbor, found her. Right in this picture, she's actually laying flat on her stomach here, and you can see the pool of blood that's around her head. And a lot of people think that her butt is sticking up in the air here. It's not, it's just because of the way she was repositioned. Because she, contrary to popular belief, she was moved around quite a bit before the actual picture was taken. And the reason that her dress looks so funny, you can see that it's tucked in here. Back in the 1800s, it was inappropriate for a woman to show any part of her leg.
Right.
So before the picture was taken, an officer grabbed her dress and tucked it underneath her ankles out of respect.
Mm-hmm.
But her body was previously moving before that picture
So,
was
like,
actually taken.
which position was she hit? Like, where would she be standing her
Well,
attacker?
There's two different theories that we've heard. She was either measuring the bed for new sheets, or she was trying to put pillowcases on the pillows at the bottom of the bed. So when
Alright.
someone came in, we assumed that she knew her attacker because she didn't try to run away. She didn't run around the bed, and there were no defensive wounds at all. So the angle of the first wound told us that she was facing her attacker, and her attacker had to have been right-handed. And that had to have stunned her, and she maybe staggered around, fell down to her knees, and continued to fall into her stomach, or was just
It
pushed
also
away.
said that Lizzie was seen asking a pharmacist that used to be across the street, I think now where the courthouse is, for some acid.
Some prussic acid, yeah. She said it was to clean a sealskin cape. And it was the insecticide of choice back then, but in a really controlled dose. And the pharmacist basically told her it's too lethal. You need a doctor's prescription to purchase that, and she never got it.
If you had any experiences here, so I know we did ask you downstairs if you had any experiences, but if you had any personal here or anyone that works here?
I have up here, I was working here for about 2 months, and I used to wear a housekeeping outfit from the 1800s. And I didn't housekeep then, I just cooked. And the owner asked me to come upstairs and strip the bed down and remake it before the tour came in. And I really didn't know what I was doing, so I came over here and I stripped the bed down, and I was facing with my back towards the door, and all of a sudden I heard footsteps come up the stairs, and it was maybe like 2 or 3, and then it sounded like a woman went, so I thought it was the owner. So I continued to strip down the bed, and I made it, and I found out later that I made it wrong. Went outside and I asked the owner if she wanted to come downstairs while I smoked a cigarette, and then we could go back upstairs and finish the bathroom. And she said, "What do you mean we?" I said, "Well, weren't we just upstairs?" And she said, "No." I said, "Oh, well, apparently I wasn't alone." So that kind of creeped me up. I didn't realize it was paranormal until afterwards.
Sometimes when you recreate a certain scene, like you said, you were dressed in the period of time back then, so it's something that they want to
And
recognize.
making the beds.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's just that possibility. Again, it's just a theory that's within the paranormal, that you create a scene and it brings back either that residual or that intelligent energy that's already here.
Right.
Which a residual is something that is just a constant replay back. It's a certain memory replaying itself. Some like to think that it's a certain traumatic stage that took place in a time. That's also another theory of what residual is, but it's just basically a basic memory.
Which
then, of
would
course,
make sense because
yeah.
they're making the bed and she died
Yeah.
making the bed, so.
And the intelligent where something like you said downstairs talked to you, so it was making you aware that, hey, I know of your surroundings, and it was just letting you know that it was here. So now over there would be Lizzie's room, right?
Yes.
Now is this the way that Lizzie's room would have been set up back when she was living, or?
As close as possible. When she was here, this door was actually closed and locked at all times, and her
Alright.
bed was kitty-cornered up against the wall here. That's about all we know for the setup of her room. We know that there was other things. The little bureau closet thing that you see over there
Yeah.
was actually a closet, and she had a chair and her bedpan in there. So she kind of made her own. What we do know about this room is that obviously there would not have been a queen-size bed here. There would have been a twin-size bed, and we believe that it was up right where the door is here. So it would have made a little bit more space in here to move around.
Now, was anything ever experienced in this room or within Lizzie's room?
Me and a couple of my coworkers caught an EVP in here. It's kind of an embarrassing EVP, but we were doing different EVPs for the different rooms. I had a huge chug of my soda. I burped. I excused myself, and after that, we caught on the EVP. But a woman sounding very disgruntled. So we believe it was Emma, and we've heard for the past couple of years
Possibly
that
because
Emma is very proper.
those of you watching at home, in EVPs, and electronic voice phenomena, it said that spirits can communicate with us through white noise, which is what the EVP picks up while recording, which is also what the reason why we use a spirit box, which we'll probably use tonight,
Cool.
which is an AM/FM radio sweep, which scans through frequencies for about a half a second each. Goes through about 13 stations, I think, within a minute. And it said that we can use it to talk to them in real time, but
Absolutely.
just wanted to let the people know. Sure that Mr. Borden was actually very cheap, like he was very cheap with his money.
Well, people did say that he was a very frugal man, but people have to understand as well that he started off his career poor. He didn't have a lot of money, and he made himself the wealthy man that he was known for. Back then, at the time of his death, he was worth almost $500,000 and had
Would
pieces
that
of
be in
property.
today's money or back then?
Back then.
All right.
Today it'd be about $8 to $12 million.
Wow.
And he had pieces of property that ranged from Fall River all the way to Westport. And he was co-manager of some of the mills and the banks in the area. And he also had, and this building still exists today, but this is the A.J. Borden building, and it was built by him in
Now,
1889.
what building would that be today?
It's now the Travelers Insurance Company,
Ah,
and it's on the corner of Anawan and South Main Street.
all right. Now, does anything ever happen in this room?
Quite a few things have happened in this room. One of the women who work here, every tour guide who works here has a hot spot, and this room was hers. And over the years of her working here, she forgot she respected the dead. So she would taunt Mr. Borden quite a bit. And over one of the voice box sessions that she had, they had, let's say, an altercation. And she always got lightheaded and nauseous in this room. And after her altercation with Mr. Borden, it got worse. Over the next 4 or 5 days, it got progressively worse to the point where she just wanted to get out of this house and be done with her tours. So she finished her tour one day, and a gentleman who comes in and gives us some of our product said, "I've been here hundreds of times, but I've never seen the inside of the house." So she's like, "Okay, do you want a quick walkthrough?" He's like, "Oh, that'd be great." So she's like, "Huh." So she goes to the house, she gets to this room, she's like, "I'm gonna do it as fast as possible," but she didn't do it fast enough. She got so lightheaded and nauseous, she didn't know if she was gonna throw up or pass out. And this woman has never passed out in her life. And she hung on to the edge of the bed, she made her way out of the room, and she was like this in the hallway, because she said whatever it was that was making her feel that way, it felt like it was right on top of her. So naturally, the gentleman who was with her wanted to make sure she was okay, so he stepped closer to her and asked, "Are you okay?" He said that just by standing next to her, he got lightheaded and nauseous.
Wow.
She's like, "Yeah, I'll be okay, just, make your way upstairs to the 3rd floor and I'll be right with you." Well, he took one step up, now he's scared. So she made her way down the hallway and she ended up feeling a little bit better. So her husband came to pick her up and she explained the situation. She's like, "I'm supposed to sleep in the house tomorrow night with the new tour guide who's scared of the house. Well, I don't want to go back because now I'm scared of the house." Well, she had to, it's her job, it's how she makes money.
Right.
So she did the only thing she thought she could do. She surrounded herself in the white light, St. Michael come down, and she apologized to every single room in this house more wholeheartedly than she's ever apologized to any person in her life. And ever since then, she's never had a problem. And we always say there's 2 things that Mr. Borden doesn't like in this house. It's women who taunt him and men who wear hats in the house.
Ah, you guys! Ah.
Couldn't have told me that when I walked in.
What was that?
Couldn't have told me that when I walked in.
Oh, you guys gotta wear your
Maybe you
hats.
should show the people at home you, Manny.
Yeah, I'll let them see me later. When I'm running out the...
Alright, so we are on the 3rd floor, and this would have been the attic?
Yeah. The room that you see to the cameraman's left would have been the maid's room, and all the area that you see back here, which are bedrooms now, that would have been all storage when the Bordens owned the home. The structures were there, they just weren't made into bedrooms until it became a bed and breakfast in 1996.
So would you like to show us into the maid's room?
Absolutely.
No, we're obviously in the maid's room, but would that have been the maid?
Yes,
No,
this
her
was
name-
Bridget.
Bridget, alright. Now, who is those people in the photos over there?
The left-hand side would have been Bridget and her husband. I promise it's a man and woman, just look for the skirt.
Now,
Oh, okay.
was Bridget married while working for the Bordens, or was
No.
that after
No, she didn't meet Jonathan Sullivan until 1905.
1905? Now, is that when, I know there's a story that where people say that she had supposedly moved down to Virginia, and she started her life there and had children. Now, is that truth, or is that just myth?
She actually settled in Montana.
Montana.
Yes, and she did have friends and family there. She never had any children though.
No children, so
No
that part's
children.
just myth.
Right.
Alright. And then, of course, these stuff here, what's the, it's actually like a headstone and stuff?
The headstone there, and there's also a picture of the church. And in the middle there is a cutout of the sale at Sargent's. That Lizzie was talking about that day.
Now, whose stone is that?
That's Bridget's.
Bridget?
Yes.
Now, what's the actual story of what actually happened with the maid that day when the murders took place?
Well, she was outside washing the windows. And
Alright.
she didn't hear or see anything. but she did testify for the prosecution. But she never blamed Lizzie or anybody else for committing the murder. She just said what she saw.
Now,
was a whole bunch of nothing.
is it true that Lizzie fired her the same day that the murders happened?
No, Lizzie didn't do anything with Bridget. Bridget took it upon herself to leave. And she went down the street and she stayed with the doctor until she could find another place to live. The very next day after the murders happened and Bridget was down the street with Dr. Bowen and his family, Uncle John walked down the street the next morning and went and got her to come back to the house and cook breakfast in the morning because she was paid till the end of the week.
Wow.
Now, Uncle John, he was the uncle that was supposedly spending the night here when
Yes.
all this happened, right? Which was the brother of Sarah, right? The biological mother?
Right.
All right. Now, what was his? Now, I know a bunch of people have like their own theories on or what they believed actually his alibi was. Now, what was his actual alibi? Like,
He was visiting his niece right down the street on Rivasset Street here in Fall River.
all right.
He was also at the post office in town, and he took a trolley ride. And the priest on the trolley remembered seeing him. So his alibi was strangely rock solid.
Now, does anything actually happen in this room, or has anything happened in this room?
I got an experience in this room. The owner has had an experience as well. Both are creepy. The owner went to sleep one night here, and this was her favorite room, and this still is my favorite room for some reason. But she went to sleep at night, and she woke up the next morning, and that rocking chair was at the edge of the bed facing her, like someone had watched her sleep all night.
It's a little creepy.
A little bit. And I did an EVP. The same night we caught the EVP with what we think is Emma on the second floor in her room. I was sitting on the bed and I was trying to get Emma to talk to me, and she really wasn't saying anything. So one of our other tour guides came in and he sat there and said, "Emma, if you're here, just let us know, give us a sign." At the same time that we caught yes on the EVP, I felt fingers run down my spine. And I just arched my back really quick, and another woman who was spending the night with us, who's the woman who trained me, she went, "Are you alright?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Now, is there anything else that actually happens in up here, or has there anything else happened?
Yeah, the room that's down the hall straight ahead is the Jose and Alton room,
All right.
and we get a lot of children EVPs and a lot of
Oh.
giggling and footsteps and toys moving. And
All right.
Alright,
So could
so
we
let's
actually
go
go
check
over
that
that?
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Now, was there other families that lived here after the Bordens?
Yes, this house actually went through 5 private hands before it came into Leanne and Donald's. But the McGinn family owned it for a vast amount of years. And Martha, who was the McGinn's daughter, she is the one who made it into a bed and breakfast in 1996. And then she sold it in 2004 to Leanne and
Now,
Donald.
you guys said that you guys hear children over here. Is there any history of children dying in the house?
Not in the house, but right over there.
Okay.
The yellow house that you saw before is the
Alright.
Kelly house. And Mr. Borden's brother actually owned that property. And he was married to a woman, they had 3 children, and she had postpartum and tried to kill all of her children by drowning them in a well in the backyard,
Wow.
which is very close to our property now.
You only
And-
hear that in movies.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she was successful in killing 2 of her children, 2 of the youngest ones. Their names were Elijah and Holder. We've caught those names through EVPs and voice back sessions here. We've also caught Sally, Mary, and James. Who those names are, we're not sure, but we do know that Elijah and Holder are the 2 children who died very close to this property. After the mother killed her children, that same day she took a straight razor to her own throat.
Oh, jeez.
No, this would have been the one of the prosecutors that you named
Yes.
this room after.
Yes.
All right. Now, what prosecutor was that in the trial? Like, what was his job?
He was the main prosecutor there.
All right.
That was Jose and Alton. And Andrew Jennings was Lizzie's attorney for the defense. And that's what we named the room right next door after. And that room we call our safe room, because we have got nothing paranormal in that room.
Would that have been Andrew Jennings?
Yes.
All right. And what about the poster, the other picture behind the camera guy? Is that also him?
In later days.
In later days. All right. And of course, that's the picture of the Maplecroft, right?
That is a picture of Andrew Jennings' house.
Oh, Andrew Jennings.
Yes, which is a block from behind where we are now.
Alright, so it's still standing.
Still standing.
Now, that sewing machine there, is that like original sewing, or is that a replica?
That, I believe, is a replica. But
Alright.
I believe that that was the sewing machine that was from Maplecroft.
The Maplecroft?
Whether it was Lizzie's, I'm not sure.
And later tonight, you're just gonna have to wait and see what we catch and if anything possibly happens. And I already know I've got to say sorry to Mr. Borden for wearing my hats. He's probably the one who shut the camera off. And I think the cameraman got a little nervous and scared, so he took his off.
That's right.
It's
Tansy.
okay.
Thank you so much for giving us the
Thank
history.
you.
Thank
Yes,
you
thank
guys.
you.
Hi, we're in here investigating Bridget's room.
Yeah, it's the Maid room.
Earlier, Danielle told us about how another member that works here had this chair pushed all the way up against the bed. So I'm going to take my K2 meter and I'm going to put it on the chair while we do this investigation.
EVP, Bridget Sullivan room, Lizzie Borden, bed and breakfast, Jen, Paula, Manny, and I, Jeremiah.
And it is 7:51 p.m.
Bridget, are you in this room with us?
Bridget, if you're in here with us, I have a device on this rocking chair, and if you walk next to it or sit on the chair, that device will light up for us to let us know that you are here.
Or if you like, Bridget, I also have a device in my hand here that will allow us to hear you speak when we play it back. So if you like, you can either communicate to us by making those lights there that you see light up, or you can speak to this device here so we can hear your voice when we play it back. Again, I just want to let you know we mean no disrespect and we mean no harm. We're just here for some answers. We want to learn from you.
If there's somebody other than Bridget in this room, could you let us know? If I snap some photos, would you be able to show yourself in the photos? I'm gonna snap next to the camera. If there's anybody in here besides us, could you make that light on the chair light up a little bit for us? All you need to do is go next to it. You can walk by it, you can touch it, you can sit in the chair.
Would you feel more comfortable if we, if I and the cameraman just left the woman in here? And would you feel more comfortable just communing with them without us men in here? If so, can you please give us a sign by lighting that up? And if you can light that up, by telling us that you'd want the boys to leave, we will respect your wishes and we will leave. Do you feel more comfortable communicating with the females?
I'm thinking that's a yes.
The light went out
Yeah.
randomly. Was that you that turned the light off on the camera?
It was. If you can do it one more time, we will set this camera up and it'll be only focused on the girls and we will leave. Can you do it one more time if that was you?
Alright, well, we're gonna have the guys leave the room.
Yeah, why don't we try and talk
Yeah.
to Bridget alone? So now it's just all us girls.
So, if you're in here with us, could you tell us what your name is? Is there a reason why you're still attached to this house?
Well, we've come to know you as Bridget. And we were told that you're the maid of the house. You were the maid of the house. Is that true?
If that's true, can you make the lights on this machine right here light up for us, please?
You're awfully quiet tonight, Bridget.
Flashing. Flashing. And flashing. And flashing. So, I hear that you can move this chair. If you can move this chair, can you move it just a little bit for us? Even if you just make it rock lightly. Do you like the people that work here? The girls that stay up in this room? Do you like watching them sleep at night?
With you being the maid, maybe you used to do that with the girls. And maybe you miss doing that. Is that why you're still here?
EVP2 still in Bridget's room, Jen and Paula. If there's anyone in this room, could you let us know that you're here? You can move something. You can make the camera light go out again. Maybe knock on the walls. I give you permission to touch me if you need to, just not harmfully.
Well, Bridget, I'd like to give you a compliment. I think you're a very beautiful woman from your pictures that I've seen of you. And I'm sorry you won't talk with us.
Maybe if we come back later, would you talk to us? Alright, we're gonna call the guys back in the room. If you don't want the guys to come in the room, give us a sign. Alright, I'm calling the guys back in.
They're coming in now.
Jeremiah, I'm gonna stop flashing in your direction while I keep your head turned. 1, 2, 3. Nope, that one didn't go. Alright, should we move on to a different room?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, let me go in front of the camera and say, even though that you didn't experience anything, before we leave, we're gonna have Manny test something out that he was told, and then he can get in front of the camera and explain what he was told.
Now, did you say something over here? Because the camera's gonna die.
Are you serious?
Yep, battery's flashing.
Well, even though, as you saw, we left, when we left the girls in here for a little bit, before we move on with tonight's investigation, we're actually going to have Manny here test out something that he was told about by the one who gave us the tour and the history earlier. That's who told you, right? Danielle?
Yep.
Alright,
Now, I was told earlier by Danielle you like to play the knocking game. I'm gonna knock 3 times. If you're in here, just copy what I'm doing.
Aaron, here, Bridget, can you just do it one more time? Like I said earlier, we mean no disrespect. We're just here for some answers. So if you can, try to communicate with us. Oh, try it one more time. Alright, well, Bridget, you are here again. We mean no disrespect. But obviously it seems like right now you don't want to communicate, so we're going to leave. We're going to go on to another part of the house, and maybe we return later. Alright? Alright, now we are still up here in the attic at the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast, and we are actually what's now known as the Knowlton room, which is straight down from where we just were at the Maid room. And it stated that in this room there are known to be children's voices, giggling, laughing, playing, which is why, as you see around you, there's toys. People eat toys here, supposedly, so out of respect for the children's spirits that are here, so we're...
Also, I would like to add that we will be checking on this bed here. We have a stuffed dog. We put it in the center of the triangle, and we are gonna keep coming back and checking on this and see if it moves out of that triangle at any point today.
So, we're going to start off with a spirit box section in this room, and I get that, but I want to get this first one up. Alright. Milton room, Lizzie Borden house, Jen, Paula, Manny, and Jeremiah. Spirit box section, recording starting now at as 10:07.
10:07.
Is there any children in here that would like to come out and play? If there is, we've got a couple of devices here that you can use to communicate with us. We've got this device over here which you can speak into and we can hear you when we play it back later. Or if you like, we've got this device over here which will allow us to hear you right now. So would you like to play a game?
Is there anybody in this room with us? If you're in here, I got a couple of games that we can play. I hear you guys like to hide up here. So I have this little machine here that if you touch it or come next to it, it will light up. And these pretty lights will let us know that you're with us in the room. So why don't we try lighting up those lights for us to let us know that you're here.
How about this? We'll play a little game where we'll ask you a question and then you just light those up for us. So let's say if you're a boy, you light that up for us once, and if you're a girl, light it up for us twice. Does that sound like fun? Is there a little boy in here with us? Just want to let you know, you don't have to be afraid. Jenny over here is a mommy, and Manny over here behind what we like to call a camera is a daddy. So you can feel safe to come out. Would you like to say something to them? Alright, so how about this? Let's stop playing this game now. Are you a boy? Are you a little girl?
You can't get it on?
Is that you that shut that light off, or?
Alright, if you don't want to talk to us using either of these two devices, I got a couple more games we can play. We have this doggy in the middle of the bed here. Do you like this?
Is that what you said? Can you say that again? Do you like the doggy?
If you like this doggy, can you try to pull it? Maybe slide it across the bed for us? Knock it over?
Can you maybe make one of the toys in the toy box go off?
Can you show me which toy in this room is your favorite toy to play with?